Namaste, everyone. Wishing you all a beautiful day. Today, I would like to share with you an embodied practice, which is in regards to feeling and embodying the hips using the grammar of Skandasana. So, Skandasana by the way, but through Skandasana, this position or this movement called Skandasana, how to develop some amount of sensitivity in relation to the femur and the hips, and also develop the movability of the socket, the joint in itself, the round nature of the acetabulum meeting the femoral head and the capsule of your hips, that relationship. So let's begin with the centering practice. I'm sitting on a block. If you can sit on any raised, like a cushion or a folded blanket, feel free to take one. And from here, invite you to rest your hands on your knees or thighs. And just for a while, let's observe the sitting body. And become aware of what is sitting with the body. What environment do we have that is sitting along with our body? Begin to listen to the world around us happening. We'll receive multiple sounds overlapping. Or with a little gap. Some sound is far and distant. And some sound is close by. We use the sound to provide us to detect that we are here in that space. Now, what kind of smell do you have in your space? Or is there any smell? Using smell to detect where we are. I invite you to now feel the temperature of that space through your skin. I'd like to invite you to begin to sense the presence of your own body. Let's begin by feeling the clothes that you're wearing, or any jewelry, or if you're wearing any glasses. Observe which part of your body that ornament or the clothes touches your skin. Now begin to sense the presence of your legs. And when we sense the presence of the legs, what do you feel in your legs? If there's any stimulation in certain parts of your legs, can you sense the presence of your hips? And if there's any kind of feeling in the hips this time, sense the presence of your spine. How does your spine feel today? Sense the presence of the abdominal area and how that area feels. Sense the presence of your chest. If there's any feelings there or any stimulation, sense the presence of your shoulders and your arms. How does one arm feel to the other? How does your thumb and your fingers feel? And you sense the presence of your neck and your head. And notice if there's any feeling or stimulation around the neck or the head area. I invite you to now notice the way that your breath meets your body. Every meeting has its own unique stimulation. As you breathe in, notice which part of your body gets stimulated. And as you breathe out, notice which part of your body gets stimulated. Keep noticing, and this time begin to offer the who breaths by breathing in through your nose, spouting your lips, and breathing out through your mouth. Continue the who breaths and notice how the who breath stimulates the body. One more cycle of the who breath. There we bring your palms in prayer position. We chant 3 rounds of Om together. Breathe in. Om. Asato ma sadghamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We bow down to the divinity within all. Rest your hands. Humbly raise your head up and open your eyes. Now from the sitting body, let's come to a standing body. In the way we shift our body weight, probably into our hands and then into our legs to come up to a standing position. Let's stand. And now place the knee pads or a folded blanket at the center of your mat. so we can pan our knees when it is required. I would request you, if you could have a yoga block with you, it would be a wooden or a foam block to get support. Then let's stand at the top front of your mat. Very gently begin to sway the body weight from side to side. And as you're moving the body weight from side to side, try to imagine as if there is a weighing machine, a weighing scale on your feet. And as you shift the body weight to one side, you're waiting for some calibration to take the reading and then shift to the opposite side. So it's not about mechanically moving, but it's about sensing and feeling. And as you move, let's take a few whole breaths. I offer you to move forward and back into your toes, back into your heels. Again, now you can visualize the weighing scale in your toes and your heels, how you are transferring the weight of the body forward and back. Invite you to move your body in a circular pattern in the same direction. Let's try moving the body weight in a circular pattern in the opposite direction. To remind you, along with your who breaths and whatever experience that you are receiving is the experience that we're looking for. And slowly coming back to the center. Let's begin with the arm pattern. Breathe in, raise your shoulders up to the ears. Breathe out, turn your arms out to the sides and bring your hands down. Inhale, lifting the shoulders up. And as you breathe out, arms out to the sides. This time, let's try crossing the arms. Breathe in, we cross the arms in front. Lift the shoulders and breathe out, bring the arms down. Change the cross of the arms this time. Lifting and circumducting your arms. Cross, one more cycle. Cross the arms, lift. And bring your arms down on either sides of your hips. Posteriorly tilts, nod your head down. The ragdoll position, so your spine is in the C shape. Breathe into the back of your neck. And breathe out. Round your spine to the front. By lengthening the back and condensing the front. Now, what experience are you having? In all of that experience, by being there with that experience, to notice which part of your body is stimulated in the ragdoll and how that stimulation feels in your body.
And slowly I'm rocking the body weight back and forward into my heels and into my toes. Connect the pubis to your navel and gradually unroll the spine as you come up. Breathe. How does your body feel? Right. Now, dynamic pendulum, just the arms alone. Raise your shoulders up. Drop the arms out to the sides and alternately cross your arms in front. So, alternate crossing. I cross the right arm once in front, and then I alternate the left arm. Notice which shoulder is getting stimulated. I can feel my left shoulder, the click-clacky of the left shoulder. Now, as you continue with the dynamic pendulum, take your hips back, double bounce, and lift. Your hips back, drop your arms, and lift. One more cycle. And let's raise your arms up. And when you breathe out, bring your arms down. Posterior tilt your pelvis, nod your head. For the second cycle of your ragdoll, breathing into the back of your lungs. And as you breathe out, round the spine to the front. Now from here, class, lightly bend your knees, very soft knee flexion and extension. And as you do that, allow your arms to hang from your shoulders. One more cycle. Right. And this time, keep your knees bent. Stay with your bent knees. Lift your chin up. Right. And look forward. Arms are hanging. And then round your back. Lift your chin. And then lift your sitting bones up. This is spinal extension. And round your back. Release the back of your head down. This time, before you go into that lifting the chin, let's stack one palm in front of the other, on top of the other in front of your chin. And then as you lift your chin up, let's lift the elbows up that way, lightly pressing your chin into your palm. Lifting the sitting bones, breathe out, round your back, the elbows down. Breathe in, open up the front, tightening the back lightly. Closing the front, opening the back. So we stay here, and from that, lift your chin to come up and spread the arms out to the sides. Breathe out, bring your arms all the way down, round your back to your your ragdoll. Bend the knees, stack one palm in front of the other, and lift your chin up. Open your palms. Spinal extension to flexion. Then bend the knees, Stack one palm in front of the other, lift your chin up. Open your elbows and spread the arms out. And let's relax your arms. What kind of stimulation did we receive in our body, or which part of the body responding? Open your eyes. Dynamic pendulum, legs and arms. Breathe in, raise your shoulders up. Bounce, lift. Now let's include a little lift of the heels, levitate and gravity. Lift, cross, cross and lift. One more cycle. This time you stay with your heels up, reaching. And as you breathe out, bring your arms in line with your shoulders. Turn your palms to face up. Let's breathe in. Lift both your arms up. Your right hand, this is my right hand, holding the left elbow. Lift the left elbow up and side bend to the right side. And come back to the center through the left arm. Extend the arms, reach and brush your left hand to hold the right and side. And lift through the strength of your right arm. Brush your left hand up and right hand back, side. Now move your hips to the left and come out. So we're including the hips in your side bend. Yeah. Moving the hips to the side. All right, this time let's slightly bend the knees and notice how I flex my elbows here. So that's my front. As I side bend, I bend the knees and then I go into a rotation. Facing back. Then I come up to the opposite side. Push the hip. Lateral flexion. Bend the knee slightly and go into a rotation. Lift the left elbow as far as your present body permits. And come back to a side bend and left. Opposite side. Bend your knees. Rotation. And left. A little rotation. And back. Breathe out, bring your arms down. Notice that any stimulation in your shoulders and how that feels. Right. From there, let's go into a dynamic pendulum. Breathe in, raise your arms up. Bounce, bounce, raise your heels. Continue. One more cycle. Raise your shoulders up. Breathe out, let's come down. Take your hips back. Raise your arms over your head. Disconnect your palms. Shift the body weight forward. Lift through your hands. Slide your hands back. And slowly unroll the spine as you come up. Breathe. Continue. Breathe in, raise your arms up. Palms, palms, raise your heels. One more cycle. And coming down to your chair, taking your hips back, flexing from your hips, knees and ankles, go further down. Disconnect your palms. Shift the body weight forward. Lift and slide your hands back. Release the back of your head down. Hold breaths. Right. Now from here, let's bend and extend your knees. So we flex very lightly, maybe an inch to begin with. And then slowly increasing. Another inch, we go slightly lower. How that feels. Try to go a little bit more lower into your hips. It's quite a bit of a deep flexion in the knees. How does that feel? Maybe going even all the way down and pressing your heels to lift up. All the way down and pressing your heels to lift up. One more cycle, if your body permits. Head down. Now shift the body weight to your left leg. Let's step your right leg back. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Look at your back leg. Your back leg is in line with your outer right hip, and the left pinky toe is in line with your outer left hip. Arms underneath the shoulders. Breathe in. Very lightly raise your sternum. And breathe out. Bend the elbows slightly to invite the sternum now to go into your body. Full breath. Raise your heels up. Move your hips now. Forward. And back. Forward. And back. Very light flexions and extensions. And this time, as we flex and extend the left knee, let's try lifting the left foot up. All right. As you flex, you lift. You're required to have blocks underneath your palms. Feel free to do that. You can't reach for the floor. One more cycle. And now keep your foot down. Shift the weight into your hands. Step back to your downward facing dog. Push your hands away from your legs to raise your hips up. Raise your heels up, class. Round your back, shoulders over your wrist. Bring the knees down and rest your hips on your heels. Breathe in. As you breathe out, raise your hips up. By rounding your back, raise your sitting bones up and extend your spine. Okay, continue. From the child to the angry cat. Lift the sitting bones up. Galloping cow. Continue. Feel the weight of your body transiting from your legs into your arms and from your arms into your legs. One more cycle. The next attempt, we stay in the angry cat position. Tuck your toes, raise your knees up to high plank, and from there, push your hands away from the legs for downward facing dog. Release the back of your head down. Take a few hoop breaths. T-shirt is falling. Breathe. Right. From here, class, let's shift the body weight to the left leg. Raise your right leg up, bend the knees. Let's do circular movement of the right leg by bending the knees in one direction. Allow the hips to collaborate. So that's important. Let's try going in the opposite direction. Using the movement to sense your existence. So it's not really about polishing the movements, but it's about creating awareness of your moving body. Let's bring the right leg down. Let's go into a high plank for a while, and then come back to the child. Stay there. Take a few deep breaths. So we come up into the cat, to high plank, and push back to downward dog. This time, let's shift the body weight to the right side, lift the left leg up, bend the left knee, and circumduct the legs. Circular movement in one direction. Let's try going in the opposite direction. One more cycle. And bring the legs down. Downward facing dog, raise your heels up, double bend your knees, and softly extend. Double bend, softly extend. One more cycle, and then let's step your legs forward as wide as your hips. Externally rotate your arms. Release the back of your head down. Breathe. Connect the pubis to your navel and gradually roll the spine to come up. Notice all that stimulation in your body and how it feels to be in your body. Open your eyes. Walking to the top front of the mat. Dynamic pendulum. Raising the heels up. One more cycle. We stay there, coming down. Hips back. Flex the knees, coming down. Raise your arms up. Shift the weight into your hands. Lift. Slide your hands back. Release the back of your head down. Again, let's lightly bend the knees, very lightly, maybe an inch. And then gradually going deeper. Full breaths. the way down. And pressing the heels to come up. One more cycle. That's it. This time let's shift the body weight to the right leg, step your left leg back in line with your outer left hip. Walk your hands underneath the shoulders. Breathe in very lightly. Lift your sternum up very light. And as you breathe out, let's bend your elbows and allow your sternum to rest into the back of your body as you release the back of your head down. Breathe. Now raise your back leg heel up. Move your hips forward by bending your right knee. And move your hips back by extending the right knee. Forward and back. One more cycle. And this time, we continue by lifting, by dorsiflexing the foot as you extend and straighten the right knee. How does that feel in your legs? One more cycle. Place the foot down. Step your right leg back. Pressing down into your fingers and your thumb. Pushing the front of the mat away from your legs. Releasing the back of your head down. Raise your heels up, round your back, bring the shoulders over your wrist, high plank, knees down. Point your toes back and release the back of your head down. You come into a child's pose, and spine is rounded. Press your shin bones, raise your hips up, we come into the angry cat position. Lift your sitting bones up from your hips. Spinal extension travels into the spine and neck. And take your hips back into Balasana. From Balasana to cat, lift the sitting bones up. The hip hinge forms into the spine about extension. Continue. This wave-like movement. And from the hips into the spine and into the neck. Two more cycles. The next attempt, let's stay in the cat pose. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees up, high plank. And from there, push into downward facing dog. Raise your heels up, double bend your knees, and softly extend them. One more cycle. And step your legs forward, class, as wide as your hips. Externally rotate your arms and release the back of your head down. Let's stay there for a while. Take a few who breaths. Breathing in and out. A gentle sway forward and back. Now connect the pubis to your navel and gradually unroll the spine as you come up. Right. Now let's invite Skandasana, and I'm hoping that there is some amount of mobility and integrity in the hip, knees, and ankles to come into that shape. And from there, let's look at windows of improvisation in Skandasana. Breathe in. Raise your arms up. Dynamic pendulum. One more. And raise your heels up. We come down to chair and further down into Malasana. Disconnect your arms. Shift the body weight forward. Lift and slide your hands back. Slightly bend your knees, shift the body weight to your right leg and step your left leg back. So Parshvottanasana. So we're going to use Parshvottanasana as a window to enter Skandasana. Very gently lift or dorsiflex the front leg foot, bend and extend the knees. One more. Right, from here now, let's internally rotate and externally rotate with knees extended. And now bend the knees. Let's try with knees bent, internal and external rotation. Now let's stay with the internal rotation. Walk your hands to the left side, shift the body weight to the right leg, and we have entered Skandasana. How does that feel? The foot is slightly in an angle. The left leg is externally rotated as you are descending. We go back, shift the body weight. Important, shift the body weight into your hands so you can lift and shift the weight into the heels. And now let's counter. We de-rotate in the opposite side, the opposite of Skandasana. A little rotation, bringing the left hip down. There's an external rotation in the right leg. I'm placing my hand not on the knees so much, but on the thighs, and very lightly pushing my hands into that leg. And walk my hands down, lift my foot up, pivot on the heels, come back into Skandasana. This time I'm going to see if I can take my hands back a little. Floating arms and shift the weight into the hands. Turn the opposite. Rotation. Your hands back. Internal rotation. Swing the arms to the back and swing the arms to the front. External rotation. Internal rotation. Good. This time we use Skandasana as a window to find another asana. All right. From there, let's go into a little rotation by bringing the hip down, the left hip down. Shift the weight into your hands and then float your back leg. Place your right hand on the shoulder to give you a little push back. Very small push. Or just even connecting. Come back. Let your toes touch. Lift and see if you can lift and pivot to the opposite side into a rotation. Walk your hands back into Skandasana. From Skandasana, bring the left hip down and go into a rotation to the opposite side. One more cycle. Pivot. And maybe this time you can launch your right hand back. as far as your right hand goes. And breathe out. Let's bring your hands down, lift and step your right leg back. Notice any difference in between the right and the left hip. Let's explore with the left leg in front. So you're going to move the hip forward and back to begin with. The left foot stays down for now. Then let's lift the left foot up so you sustain dorsiflexion. One more. Now keep the knees fairly extended. If you require a block underneath your palms, feel free to take one. External rotation, internal rotation. Notice what your hip does naturally for you when you externally rotate and internally rotate. Let's try that with the knees bent. External rotation, internal rotation. Where does your hip, like a tail, swing? Now, internal rotation, we turn to the right side. The right leg is externally rotated. Feel. Pressing hard into the heels. Many times we tend to move from one position to another without feeling or taking notes from the body. Shift the body weight into your hands, pivot on the heels, bring the right knee down into a little rotation. Looking back. Come back, lift, pivot on the heel, back to Skandasana. Float your hands back if your body permits. Lift into rotation. To the other side. Shift and pivot. Notice which part of your body gets stimulated. And this time, let's bring your right hip down. Take your arms in line with your right hip and lift the left leg up. So you're floating the left leg. See, that's my left leg floating. Take your right hand, place it on your shoulders. Little rotation. That's come back into Skandasana. And the opposite of Skandasana. Back to Skandasana. Swing the arms very lightly as if you're feeling space into a seated rotation. Shall we try that again? Skandasana. To little rotation. Take your hands, your left hand back. And back. Skandasana. And back into rotation. So your Skandasana becomes the transiting point. Back, bring the left hand back. Step the left leg back. And breathe. Raise your heels up round your back. High plank to the child's pose. Let's take a few whole breaths and honor your practice with Balasana. Let's try another window in Skandasana if our body permits. Coming to cat. High plank. Downward dog. Raise your right leg up. Step the right leg forward. Let's keep the right knee bent. Lift. We pivot and sit in Skandasana. So let me do this facing the front. So you get probably a better visual of what's happening. Remove this carpet the next class. So good. So Let's go back to downward dog. I'm stepping the right heel forward, the knee above the heel for now, and then lift the foot, pivot. We come into Skandasana. Right, external rotation of the left leg, right knee facing forward. Now from here, we're going to walk your hands towards the left leg and then go into a rotation. So now what's happening is the hip flexion, walk back, hip flexion, walk to hip extension. So you have one side of your body sort of doing Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, that way, upward facing dog. And the other side, the leg is doing Malasana, only that I'm adding a little twist here. Back into flexion. Can we try that once again? Skandasana, 2. Little rotation, back into Skandasana. And turn, pivoting all the way to the opposite side. Step the right leg back and bring the right leg down. Let's try the left leg. Raise the left leg up, bend the knees, step forward. To Skandasana, raise the heel, pivot. Entering Skandasana, walk your hands towards your legs into a spinal extension on the left side and upper body rotation. Come back to Skandasana, staying low. Walk, tracing the edge of the mat. And back into Skandasana. One more cycle. And this time pivoting all the way to the opposite side like we did previously. Rotation. Bring your left hand down, load your left hand, and step your left leg up and come down. Getting a lot of stimulation in my hips. Let's raise your heels up, round your back, high plank. 2. Child pose. From child to cat, and cat to a very small upward facing dog. You might have to walk your hands slightly forward to give some space for your hips to extend. Back to child. 2, angry cat, and upward facing dog. Push back to Balasana. Balasana to angry cat. One last. Lift your hips and let's stay this time in Balasana. Deep breaths. Walk your hands back. This is the floor and slowly into a seated position. Now, let's do some recovery patterns. I invite you to lie on your back. Your knees bent, holding the back of your legs, round your back. Arms in line with your shoulders. We come to your constructive rest position. Walk your feet as wide as your mat with your knees bent. Very gently move your head from side to side. As you move your head to one side, let's move the legs to the opposite side. Stay there for a while, who breathe. The center and to the opposite side. Continue. One more cycle. Returning back to the center. The hanging bridge, I walk my heels to my sitting bones. Press my heels down and slowly peel the spine off the floor into a hanging bridge. Raise your arms up and bring your arms to the side of your ears. And rest your hands. Come down from your shoulder blade, mid back, and your lower back. Deep breaths. Walk your hands back on either sides of your shoulders. And tuck your tailbone and gradually peel the spine. Raise your arms and bring the arms to the side of your ears. Rest your hands. Down your shoulder blade, mid back, and your lower back. Now bring your arms on either sides of your shoulders. Notice if there's any skin stuck behind in between your body and the floor. And then extend one leg at a time, sacredly offering your legs to the ground. Close your eyes and breathe. Sense and feel where your body is. And notice if your body is traveling down to the floor. your mind can follow your body to the floor. If you'd like to continue with Shavasana, please ignore my invitation. Otherwise, slowly begin to move your hips the way that you would move it. Notice how other parts of your body is responding. Move other parts of your body the way that you would like to move it. Stretching, rocking, rolling, just condensing. And your knees. Roll to your preferred side. Resist the floor. Come up. Arms in prayer position. Om. 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 Shanti. 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you all for joining this class and wishing you all a blessed week. And next week I'm traveling and therefore I'm not able to send you a recording. I will send you the following week. Om.